Hi, I'm Evie Sayono. In this sixth video, I will still be continuing my reading of a book entitled Building Bridges, Rethinking Literacy Teacher Education in a Digital Era. This book is written by Claire Kosnick, Simone White, Clive Beck, Bethan Marshall, A. Lynn Goodwin, and Jean Murray. This book is printed by Sense Publisher, Rotterdam, the Netherlands, 2016. Section 1. Digital Technology, Literacy, and Teacher Education. Sean Bullock. 1. Digital Technologies in Teacher Education. From Mythologies to Making. The Mythology of Theory into Practice. Darling Hammond, 2006, summarized the complexity of teaching in the following way. Teachers must be guided by curriculum goals that prepare students to think critically and perform at high levels. But they cannot achieve these goals by teaching a standardized curriculum. Teaching for deep understanding requires open-ended tasks and student-initiated inquiries, whose course cannot be fully scripted. Teachers must elicit and follow students' thinking and manage an active learning process that goes beyond direct transmission of facts and information to the development of analytic skills and performance abilities. Page 40. The problem of complexity is a good way of framing why digital technologies have failed to reform education in a significant way, much less replace or minimize the need for teachers. I am unaware of any digital technologies that are able to deal with the four elements of complexity defined by Darling Hammond. Page 39. Number 1. Teaching is never routine. Number 2. Teaching has multiple goals that must be addressed simultaneously. Number 3. Teaching is done in relationship to diverse groups of students. Number 4. Teaching requires multiple kinds of knowledge to be integrated. Taken together, these elements go a long way to revealing why teacher candidates find it difficult to use digital technologies in their developing practice. Teaching with digital technologies can add further complications to an already complex endeavor. Moving forward with digital technologies in teacher education. In the previous section, we have explored both the failure of educational technologies to yield significant educational reform and two relevant mythologies that contribute to that failure. In particular, we examined the problems associated with the mythology of efficiency of digital technology in education, and the problems associated with the mythology of equating learning to teach with technical rationalism. In both cases, the result is often that digital technologies are framed as deus ex machina solutions to all the challenges faced by education. The slogans one often hears associated with digital technologies underscore this point. Teach all kids to code. One computer for every child. Gamify your classroom. eDest, make your teaching more closely resemble a video game. Slogans like this play into both mythologies rather handily. All is not lost, however, despite the rather bleak tone of this chapter to this point. I actually believe that the most productive way to move forward with digital technologies is to reframe how they are theorized within teacher education program. One productive line of thinking is offered by the work of Desjardins, Lacasse, and Belair, 2001, who offered a competency model for thinking about digital technologies and teacher education. Although their model was originally developed with practicing teachers and later extended in Desjardins 2005, the lessons from the work of Desjardins et al. 2001 are useful heuristics for considering the way forward in the use of digital technologies in teacher education. Desjardins et al. Defined 4 competencies that teachers require to use digital technologies. Number 1. A technical competency that enables a new teacher to use the technology. Example given, loading apps, updating software, turning it off and on, and basic troubleshooting. Number 2, an informational competency that enables a new teacher to use the technology to retrieve information. Example given, web searches, Twitter searches, displaying particular data in a spreadsheet program. Number 3, a social competency that enables a new teacher to use the technology to interact with other people. Example given, instant messaging, voice over internet protocol, discussion board posting, electronic mail. Number 4, an epistemological competency that enables a new teacher to assign tasks to digital technology to generate new knowledge or artifacts. Example given, creating formulae in a spreadsheet program, putting together a digital video, programming. It should also be noted that the technical competency is the prerequisite for other competencies. I have listed the competencies in the order that they are typically pursued. It is fair to say that more teacher candidates are comfortable using technology for information retrieval than for epistemological functions. I believe that part of the challenge of meaningfully incorporating digital technologies in teacher education is at least partially explained by the tendency of teacher education coursework, and perhaps even education more generally, to focus on the first two competencies at best. Typically, it seems as though teacher candidates are taught how to operate software and hardware within technology courses, perhaps with the end goal of creating a lesson plan that uses, say, a set of iPads with a particular app or a lesson that uses an interactive whiteboard in a particular way. Of course, there can be value in these sorts of assignments, but I would argue that it is important to provide teacher candidates with experiences that help them develop their social and epistemological competencies for using digital technologies. Doing so would enable them to answer or at least frame foundational questions about the purposes of using digital technologies in their teaching. A consideration of social competencies would likely enable teacher candidates to think about the ways in which technology might be used to augment existing classroom discourse. Perhaps a class discussion board enables students who do not speak up in class to contribute in different ways. Perhaps individual student blogs gives teachers a unique way to turn into how their students are thinking about a particular unit of study or classroom moment. A consideration of epistemological competencies would likely enable teacher candidates to think about the ways in which digital technologies can be used to create new knowledge or new digital artifacts. Perhaps creating a stop motion animation or slow motion, Hoban 2007, enables students to represent their knowledge of a scientific concept in a more robust way than a traditional test. Perhaps programming in language like Scratch MIT 2015 would allow students to develop both knowledge of programming and an appreciation for what it takes to create a game or simulation. The recent pervasive enthusiasm for developing so-called 21st century skills argue, at least tacitly, that someone who is technologically literate knows how to use a number of devices and programs expertly. Hodson's 2008 concept of scientific literacy provides a more useful orientation for thinking about what it means to be technologically literate, particularly how to move forward with digital technologies in teacher education. Alright, that's it for today. The remaining 3 pages of chapter 1 will be read in video 7 and 8. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be seeing you again in my next videos. I'm Evie Sayono. See you next time. Bye!